Um, and welcome, guys, on today's episode of education about racism to white people or to people in general. I want to start by just giving a general overview of what's going on in the world right now. Today's date is I think it's the 11th the 11th of June 2020, and a lot of people are protesting about racism in the world and all that. It's going on in America. We saw what happened to George Floyd. We saw, and the thing is, that's not the first time it's happened, or the second time, or the third time. That's the one we know of. We've seen all of that go on, and people in the UK say, "Oh, it's when we in the UK, we don't have racism in the UK." I want to tell you, folks, there's racism in the UK. It's as bad. Almost, not, I wouldn't say as bad as, because you don't have the physical shootings of black people, but there is racism in the UK. A lot of racism than what people want to admit, and that there is one of the problems with racism. You know, um, I was just on Instagram, and I was chatting to some people on Instagram, and the views of racism they have is a bit disturbing. This lady, I forgot what her name was. She was narrating a story about how she's a celebrity, though, of how she was racially targeted in a shop. And most people, instead of what how do I call it, instead of them to, okay, identify that, okay, yeah, this is a problem, how do we fix it, they started criticizing the lady. Now that there is in itself racism, because we don't want to solve the problem. So if you don't want to be part of the solution, you are part of the problem. Now this lady walked into a shop, and the shop owner, because the lady is mixed race, and the dad was a big black guy according to her, and the shop owner immediately assumed that they were going to steal that thing. Now that there is racism. And now, okay, yes, we can say, okay, the shop owner was a bit ignorant and she needed education. But according to her story, right, every other person there walked out of the shop. Now, why did that not intervene? Right, this is a problem with racism. Now, if you guys watch the video in George Floyd's killings, there were some police officers there that knew that what the other guy was doing, Derek or something, what he was doing was wrong, and they still failed to do nothing. That is in itself the problem with racism, because white people, colored people, in fact, most importantly, white people, you guys know, because this goes to my white audience, you guys know the racism is wrong. You know that. You know, we're both human beings, we're educated. You know racism is wrong. Now, if you're on the street and you see another white person or colored person or something, a white person being racist to a colored person or an Asian person, now, you walk on the street and you see that happening, 9 times out of 10, the white people are going to just keep walking. They're just going to go away from that situation because it makes them feel uncomfortable. And now that in itself is a problem with racism, because if you guys decide to stand up and solve that problem, if you guys, okay, when in the shop, right, when the lady was being, the customer who was giving the story was being racially, what did they call it? Racially attacked. Like, she was identified and she was discriminated. The shop owner automatically assumed that she had she was there to steal the item. Now, if the white people in the shop had gone to that lady and said, "This lady, hold on a minute, why do you assume this about this lady?" The shop owner would have stopped. But because they walked away and they decided to do nothing, do you get what I mean? Now, that itself is what offends me most about racism. And then you stand there and say, "Oh, racism doesn't exist in the UK." It does exist in the UK. We experience it every day. I'm a black Nigerian guy. I'm proud of being black, but racism exists in the UK. And the fact that no one wants to admit anything about it, that there is a problem with racism. I'm just going to be dropping these little videos every now and then. We're not saying, well, as a black person, I'm not saying that all white people are racist, to be honest. I'm just saying that most white people are racist subconsciously without knowing. Because if you are somewhere and someone's been racist, what you need to do is identify and stop that immediately. Walking away automatically makes you a racist, believe it or not, because you don't want to be part of the solution. Automatically, you're being part of the problem. It's McAnderson here, anyways. Take care.